In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people but the silence over that by the good people. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles and misguided men. The time is always right to do what is right. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor, it must be demanded by the oppressed. Whatever your life's work is, do it well. A man should do his job so well that the living, the dead, and the unborn could do it no better. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. History will have to record that the greatest tragedy of this period of social transition was not the strident clamor of the bad people, but the appalling silence of the good people. That old law about an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind. The time is always right to do the right thing. Capitalism does not permit an even flow of economic resources. With this system, a small privileged few are rich beyond conscience, and almost all others are doomed to be poor at some level. That's the way the system works. And since we know that the system will not change the rules, we are going to have to change the system. Everything that we see is a shadow cast by that which we do not see. There can be no deep disappointment where there is not deep love. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. Every man must decide whether he will walk in the light of creative altruism or in the darkness of destructive selfishness. Cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Expediency asks the question, is it politic? Vanity asks the question, is it popular? But conscience asks the question, is it right? And there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but one must take it because it is right. I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. Whatever affects one directly, affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. Any religion that professes to be concerned about the souls of man and is not concerned about the slums that damn them, the economic conditions that strangle them and the social conditions that cripple them is a spiritually moribund religion awaiting burial. If we are to go forward, we must go back and rediscover those precious values, that all reality hinges on moral foundations and that all reality has spiritual control. Never succumb to the temptation of bitterness. Law and order exist for the purpose of establishing justice, and when they fail in this purpose they become the dangerously structured dams that block the flow of social progress. I submit that an individual who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust, and who willingly accepts the penalty of imprisonment in order to arouse the conscience of the community over its injustice, is in reality expressing the highest respect for law. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual doom. We must concentrate not merely on the negative expulsion of war but the positive affirmation of peace. Seeing is not always believing. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. If a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. We are not makers of history. We are made by history. I look to a day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle, the tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus but a molder of consensus. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why right, temporarily defeated, is stronger than evil triumphant. Man must evolve for all human conflict a method which rejects revenge, aggression and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love.